G'day folks, it's Rob here, and in today's clip I'll be running through how I knocked together this little radial flow settler behind me here, and I'll also be sharing some technical tips to help you folks knock together a little settler for yourself. So if you want to know more about radial flow settlers and how they work and the mechanics behind it, check out this clip up here. It's a recent one I've posted to the channel, so suss that out and then you can come back here and check out how this little jobby here was knocked together. So quite obviously this is our little radial flow settler. Now it is made out of a recycled 200 litre drum, and I've done something funky with the top there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, suitable drums for little filters like this, the recycled ones, can be anything that's made out of a food grade plastic and preferably have had foodstuffs or food safe products in it before you buy them. Now you can get drums with lids, but I find that most of those guys have a taper down towards the base, which can make it really hard to install the drain fittings. I do like these ones here because they tend to have a flatter wall, which makes installing those fittings down the base a lot easier. Not only that, they're very easy to come by. You can find these pretty much all anywhere, and as you'll see in a minute, it's very easy to chop the top off and use it as a very sturdy lid. And the reason why we can do that is you might be able to see from here, or probably better still from this photo, that they have a narrowing just below the rim area, and that narrowing is round about the same diameter as the little gutter that runs around the circumference of the top of the drum. So when we chop it off at the narrowest point there, just below the lid, when we flip it over, that gutter creates a perfect little seal for the lid itself, and it holds on there nice and firm. So before we look at how I installed the stilling wheel, I'll just run through a couple of technical points. Now, it's a good idea to have your stilling well come down at least half the total volume of water within the vessel itself. You don't want it coming down all the way to the bottom, because as the water leads around the edge of that stilling well, it will disturb some of those solids on the bottom. So I think a good rule of thumb to follow is around about 50%, and that will give a fairly large body of still water down the bottom to slow the other water down, the velocity of that water down coming out from the stilling well, so those particulate can fall on the bottom. I pretty much will just marked on the side of the barrel where I thought the stilling well should be, and then cut it to length. Now for the stilling well itself, I decided to go with 150mm or roughly 6-inch stormwater pipe, and I'm just using one of the stormwater caps as the lid for it here. Now I could have gone with a bucket like this, a tall 20-litre bucket. I think they're around about 5 gallons-ish. The only problem is I would have had to do a few modifications, chopping into these little bits of the raised mould and that sort of thing. And not only that, because of this extra rim at the top, it probably would have only sat round about